I'd like to continue and expand what we were talking about yesterday, which is really extremely important. The question is, if you go into a restaurant which is not kosher or a weak hechsher, and you want to buy something kosher, that's what we were discussing. For instance, a cup of coffee. Coffee is kosher. Unless you'd have to go out of your way to find non-kosher coffee. So coffee's kosher, so you go into a store, do you have a hechsher? I don't have a hechsher. Can you buy that coffee or not? So we talked about one of the first things you have to look at, it would seem, is tevilas keilim. Did he toivel his keilim? So even though the coffee's kosher, but if the keilim's not kosher, how does that affect the coffee? And I just want to say two things about this. Of course, this expands from coffee to anything. You want to buy a salad. People talk like I only eat salad. It's vegetables. I know. I took my own trubas and meisters. All kinds of things. Is there a way to do this or not? And I'm talking about in Israel where there's a chiyuv tevila, because in the United States or in Chutzlaretz, if it belongs to if the proprietor is a non-Jew and it's his dishes and it says there is no chiyuv tevila, so this becomes ironically more complicated when you're dealing with a Jewish person across the counter. So what's the halacha with tevilas keilim? So there's two things we have to know. One thing we have to know is usually applies that if something is not toivel, it doesn't mean you're not allowed to eat from it. It doesn't make the food treif. Just an important thing. Now it could be, I said two things, let me say one thing. Just because something is not toivel, it doesn't make the food treif. Whether you're allowed to eat from it depends on whether you have a chiyuv tevila or not. But just because it's not toivel, it doesn't make the food non-kosher. It's not like you're eating on a treif plate, something hot, and now the blias of the treif are going into your salad. That's not what's going on. The issue is that it wasn't toivel, and that's something that you have to do. You have to toivel keilim, but it's not something which anywhere does it say that it makes the food in it treif. Point one. Point two, and this is really the more important point that I want to get into, a chiddush of the Beis Yosef, which is brought in Shulchan Aruch, and it's really something people don't realize. Tevilas keilim in general, the idea of toiveling keilim, is talking about kli suda. Take the case of the Torah. Went to Midian. We had a war with Midian. You got all kinds of new china or dishes and pots and pans and silverware, fancy Midianite stuff, nice stuff. And you bring it home. So the Torah is standing at the foot of your table. Hold on, don't bring it to the house yet. Go and toivel it. That's talking about you want to bring it into your house. Kli suda. Comes to Beis Yosef, he brings from earlier sources, but kli schora is not kli suda. Kli schora means that if you know you're not taking it into your home to use as your utensils, as your silverware, as your dishes, as your pots and pans. You're taking it from the Midianite to sell it, let's say, or now you're going to open up a store, Hamid Jani. You're gonna do something. You're gonna rent it out. Even you're going to open up a gemach. So all of those cases, says the Beis Yosef, it's not kli suda. It's kli schora. Just an extreme example of this, and we're going to have to talk about this more because there's a lot of discussion, but it's very, very important. But let's say you're, just an example, let's say you're an electrician or a seamstress, a tailor, and you get a pita and you want to open the pita. So you go into your toolbox and you take out a sakin yapani and you open up the pita. Or you go into your box and you take out a scissors and you cut the pita open. Does that scissors or does that knife, does that require tevila or not? Quick?
No.
Why not? It's not kli suda. Well, it's not
not
kli suda. Say the words right? It's not kli suda. The kli suda ton tefila, kli schora einam ton tefila. So this is a very clear halacha. The Ramah says, listen, if you're going to use it all the time and that's going to be your utensil, so now it became a kli suda and you have to toivel it. But minastam, you don't have to toivel something which is not kli suda. So therefore, here's the extension of this, which we'll get into, I think, tomorrow. Somebody buys a caterer, a restaurant, and you buy boxes and boxes of plates or silverware, let's say, and you open it up and you serve it to the people. So you use it at a chasana or at a restaurant. So are those knives right now, or those forks, are they kli suda or are they kli schora? That's the question. So we could say a lot of svaras, but the poskim all talk about this. The Aruch HaShulchan says it's clearly kli schora. It clearly is not eating utensils, even though you're going to eat with it. But the kavanah of the guy who buys it is I'm doing business with this. Since I'm doing business with it, it becomes a machete. It becomes a scissors. It doesn't have anything. And the fact that now I have to, I'm going to eat from it. That doesn't make any difference because the idea is that you're keilim and you didn't have to toivel it. So now I'm not doing anything wrong altogether. But let me just read you for today the one sentence from the Aruch HaShulchan. Aruch HaShulchan is this. All of this is in Kuf Chaf in your day. Everything we're talking about. So the Aruch HaShulchan says, "Apikli matchis, even if it's metal, doesn't make any difference what the keli is. Shari v'shekein haminig hapashet b'chol tzvutzes Yisrael ve'ein bazeh pikpuk klal." This is the Aruch HaShulchan. This is the minig. There's no shiloh about it. We're going to learn that there's a lot of shiloh about it, but that's what the Aruch HaShulchan says. That ein bazeh pikpuk klal, meaning it was the minhag in his city, in the Bardik, in Lita. It was the minig that if somebody had exactly the case that he's talking about, somebody had a restaurant, they didn't toivel the keilim. They didn't toivel the keilim. They didn't have to toivel the keilim because those are kli schayra and they're not kli suda. And then we'll pick that up from there, Lamais.